by many to be the worst country on earth.
4:13 a.m., Minneapolis,
The
Minnesota,
Somali-American
December 22nd, 2025. 2.64 tons of narcotics, 96 arrests, 10 children prepared for transport, a 1,700-foot tunnel system beneath a mansion, 2 lawyers running a cartel logistics hub disguised as a law firm. The temperature sits at 11 degrees. Frost coats every window on the block. Nothing on the surface suggests what federal agents are about to uncover. Let me show you how Minneapolis became a gateway for industrial-scale trafficking without anyone noticing. The mansion at the end of Kenwood Parkway looks like every other luxury home in this quiet neighborhood. But beneath it, something impossible exists. A tunnel network, steel-reinforced, climate-controlled, military-grade security, and inside, enough fentanyl to kill 800,000 people. If you want the full truth about what happened beneath those streets, hit like so this story reaches more people before this gets buried. The investigation began 11 months earlier, not with a tip, not with an informant, with a pattern. January 2025, DEA analysts in Chicago noticed something strange in their data. Cocaine purity levels in the upper Midwest were rising, street prices were dropping, distribution networks were expanding faster than enforcement could track. Minneapolis kept appearing. The city should not have been a hub. No border proximity, no major port access, hundreds of miles from traditional cartel corridors. But the numbers did not lie. Between January and August 2025, overdose deaths in Minnesota spiked 43%. Fentanyl seizures increased 67%. Heroin trafficking cases doubled. Something had changed in the supply architecture. Federal teams began mapping financial flows, shell companies, real estate transactions, nonprofit registrations. 2 names appeared repeatedly: Ayan Osman and Mahad Nur. On paper, they were model citizens, Somali-American attorneys, respected practices in immigration law, housing disputes, civil litigation. Judges trusted their filings, clerks recognized their names, community leaders praised their advocacy. But beneath the surface, analysts noticed anomalies. Bank transfers clearing at 2 a.m., property purchases under shell LLCs, nonprofit grant money flowing into accounts and vanishing, legal fees paid in cash forming patterns when viewed over time. One transaction stood out: $47,000 labeled as consultation fees, paid at 11:38 p.m. on a Sunday. Who conducts legal consultations at midnight? Comment "exposed" below if you think corruption hides in plain sight. March 2025, federal surveillance began. The mansion on Kenwood Parkway became the focal point. 1.3 acres, one of Minneapolis's most exclusive neighborhoods. Purchase price, $2.7 million. Registered owner, Osman Legal Services, LLC. External monitoring revealed unusual activity. Electrical consumption spiked between 1 and 3 a.m. every third night. Cooling systems cycled when residential usage should have been minimal. Ventilation patterns suggested airflow inconsistent with a standard basement. Unmarked vehicles arrived late. Private security rotations changed every 8 hours. Signal jamming equipment was detected within the property perimeter. This was not a home. This was infrastructure. By May 2025, surveillance teams documented 47 late-night vehicle arrivals. Each visit followed the same pattern: 5 vehicles in sequence, unload, depart before sunrise. No noise, no commotion, nothing that would wake neighbors. Federal analysts cross-referenced license plates, shell companies, rental agreements, disposable registrations. Every trail led to dead ends. Then came the breakthrough. June 18, 2025, an encrypted phone seized during an unrelated cartel arrest in Arizona contained a single Minneapolis address, the mansion on Kenwood Parkway. The phone belonged to a CJMG logistics coordinator. The The messages referenced conversion nodes, volume thresholds, and rotation schedules. One phrase appeared repeatedly: "The lawyers clear it." That phrase changed everything. Type yes below if you're ready to see what happened next. Federal prosecutors secured FISA warrants, electronic surveillance intensified, financial subpoenas expanded. The investigation was no longer about drugs, it was about infrastructure corruption. Analysts discovered that Ayan Osman and Mahad Nur had handled over 1,800 legal cases in the past 8 years. Immigration petitions, housing appeals, criminal defense motions, civil disputes. More than 1,000 of those case files showed irregularities. Hearings rescheduled indefinitely, evidence logs mislabeled, defendants who should have remained traceable simply vanishing into administrative confusion, warrants expiring without renewal, cases marked resolved without proper closure. This was not legal work. This was systematic obstruction. The financial damage extended far beyond drug money. Between 2017 and 2025, $280 million moved through community assistance programs connected to entities controlled by Osman and Nur, federal grants, state housing funds, nonprofit donations. On paper, these programs served immigrant families, provided legal aid, funded housing initiatives. In reality, families never received help. Amira Hassan, a Somali refugee, applied for emergency housing assistance in 2023. She was told funding had been approved. She waited 14 months. No housing, no follow-up, no explanation. She was not alone. 237 families documented similar experiences. The money vanished into layered shell accounts. Audits were delayed. Oversight was redirected. Red flags were neutralized through procedural manipulation. By August 2025, federal teams had mapped the financial architecture. More than 70 shell companies, properties in 14 states, bank accounts across 23 institutions, cryptocurrency wallets, offshore holdings. The network was not built for drug trafficking. It was built for invisibility. If this shocks you, hit like right now while you still can. September 2025, ground-penetrating radar was deployed near the Kenwood Parkway mansion. The results stunned investigators. Beneath the property, radar signatures revealed a reinforced underground corridor. Not a basement, not a crawl space, a purpose-built tunnel system extending hundreds of feet beyond the property line. Engineering analysis confirmed the structure was professionally constructed: steel bracing, concrete reinforcement, electrical conduits, ventilation shafts, climate control systems. This was not improvised. This was engineered over years. Municipal records showed no permits, no inspections, no connection to city infrastructure. The tunnel existed outside all official systems. Federal planners realized they were not looking at a drug house. They were looking at a logistics hub, a place where cartel supply chains intersected with legal legitimacy. The order came down in November. Simultaneous raids across 17 locations: Minneapolis, St. Paul, Bloomington, Eden Prairie, Shakopee, and the mansion at the center. December 22, 2025, 3:47 a.m. More than 250 FBI and ICE personnel staged at assembly points across Minneapolis. Tactical teams, evidence recovery units, digital forensic specialists, tunnel breach experts. The operational scale was unprecedented for a residential neighborhood, but planners believed anything smaller risked catastrophic failure. At 4:13 a.m., command authorization was issued. No sirens, no flashing lights, no warnings. Vehicles moved into position with headlights off. Streets were quietly cordoned. Neighbors remained asleep. The mansion sat dark and silent at the end of the block. At 4:47 a.m., the first breach began. The front door was reinforced steel disguised as decorative wood. Battering rams struck 3 times before the frame gave way. The sound echoed through the pre-dawn silence. Inside, chaos erupted. Individuals posing as private security moved into defensive positions. Steel shutters sealed interior corridors. Panic buttons triggered signal jamming devices. This was not surprise. This was preparation. Agents advanced methodically. Flashbangs disoriented defenders. Canine units swept rooms. Stairwells were secured. Exits blocked. Every individual was separated and restrained. The confrontation lasted 12 minutes. No federal agents were killed. 7 armed guards were subdued. Then teams reached the lower level, a concealed panel behind a wine storage unit. Behind it, a reinforced steel door. No handle, electronic lock, biometric scanner. Breaching charges were placed. Share this so more people understand what is happening in American cities. The explosion tore through the lock mechanism. The door swung inward. Behind it, a sloping corridor descending into darkness. The tunnel entrance was not crude, it was industrial. Steel-lined walls, LED lighting strips, climate control vents, power conduits, data cables, drainage channels. The air inside was cool and circulated. The floor was smooth concrete. Agents moved forward in tactical formation, 50 feet, 100 feet, 200 feet. The corridor opened into a chamber. Computer terminals lined one wall, inventory scanners, barcode readers, thermal printers, sealed containers stacked on pallets, document archives, filing cabinets, whiteboards covered in coded notations. This was a processing center. Along the far wall sat crates, industrial shrink wrap, standardized labeling, barcodes, manifest numbers. Agents cut the first seal. Inside, individually wrapped packages, white powder, each package marked with weight, purity percentage, and destination code. The count began. 243 kilograms, 476 kilograms, 891 kilograms. By the time teams finished cataloging the staging chamber, the total exceeded 2.2 tons. Heroin, fentanyl, cocaine, methamphetamine. Estimated street value, $550 million. But the most disturbing discovery was not the drugs. 10 children sat in a side chamber, ages 6 to 14, frightened, disoriented, huddled together in silence. One boy wore a hospital bracelet with a number instead of a name. A girl clutched a stuffed elephant, its fur matted and dirty. They had been logged like inventory, assigned codes, photographed, weighed, measured. Investigators believed the children were being prepared for transport as part of a separate trafficking stream. Nearby, agents recovered intake forms, medical records, transit schedules, destination cities. The children were cargo. Comment justice if you believe these people deserve maximum sentences. 72 concealed handguns were recovered from compartments along the tunnel walls. Long rifles, tactical gear, ammunition magazines, body armor, everything positioned for immediate access. This was not storage, this was defense preparation. Encrypted hard drives contained shipping manifests, route maps, payment schedules, customer databases, internal communications tying the Minneapolis hub to distribution points in 11 states. Every movement was digitally recorded, every transfer logged, every transaction documented. This was not a criminal operation, this was corporate logistics applied to narcotics trafficking. As the sun rose, raids unfolded across the Twin Cities. 7:08 a.m., North Minneapolis, a strip mall office labeled Immigration Consulting and Document Services. The waiting area looked welcoming, soft lighting, posters about opportunity, pamphlets in multiple languages, a children's corner. Behind a rear door sat a forgery operation. High-speed printers, industrial laminators, blank identity templates, passport stock, driver's license blanks, social security card templates. Agents seized encrypted phones, multi-state route manifests, customer payment logs. thousands of forged documents ready for distribution. 7:22 a.m., Northeast Industrial Corridor, a cold storage warehouse behind chain-link fencing. Trucks arrived and departed like any legitimate distribution center. Inside, pallets wrapped in plain film. Teams cut sample seals. The contents matched the mansion. Packaging patterns identical. Barcode structures identical. Label spacing identical. The count climbed. 440 additional kilograms across the warehouse. 7:49 a.m., downtown Minneapolis. A second legal office entered under court authorization. Conference table, diplomas, neatly labeled folders. Behind a storage door, ledgers, payment logs, transfer schedules, charity records, Shell vendor invoices. Individually, pages looked harmless. Together, patterns emerged. The same names across unrelated cases, the same phone numbers appearing in immigration filings, tenant disputes, sealed criminal matters, mailing addresses repeating across jurisdictions. The missing case files did not feel lost. They felt relocated. Type the name of your city below. Do you think this is happening there too? 8:11 a.m., South Minneapolis. A rental unit functioned as a staging space. Crates, packaging tables, hidden compartments, tools laid out for daily use. Labels matched warehouse pallets. Barcode prefixes matched seized devices. Not carelessness, discipline. By mid-morning, detainee transport began. Couriers, drivers, security, document runners, support staff. By day's end, 96 arrests had been made. The evidence split into two categories: physical evidence, narcotics, weapons, devices, packaging, tunnel engineering; administrative evidence, files, signatures, access logs, case outcomes. The second category unsettled investigators more. Because the tunnel under the mansion was no longer the most important tunnel, the paperwork was. Analysts searched for procedures, not confessions, repeated intake forms, standardized approval language, signature patterns, routing codes. One internal summary described the operation this way: this was not misconduct, it was a parallel legal system built by people who believed the law existed to serve them. Between 2017 and 2025, Osman and Nouri allegedly facilitated the movement of more than 4 tons of narcotics into the United States, not as street dealers, not as enforcers, as legal facilitators. They opened doors, they influenced paperwork, they ensured silence. CJNG cartel logistics moved through their network because their network blended into legitimate systems. Immigration cases provided cover for movement patterns. Housing disputes created paper trails that obscured trafficking routes. Non-profit grants laundered proceeds. The mansion was never meant to be the final destination. It was a conversion point, a place where criminal logistics intersected with legal authority. Subscribe so you don't miss the follow-up investigation into how many other cities have these tunnels. Once a tunnel exists, the case stops being about property ownership. It becomes about routing, schedules, volume, cover mechanisms. And this tunnel was not built for spectacle. It was built for repetition. Engineering teams later confirmed the underground system included multiple access points, feeder lines, storage chambers, ventilation systems, emergency exits. The main reinforced segment extended roughly 640 feet beneath neighboring properties. When feeder lines and access corridors were mapped, the total network approached 1,700 feet. Inside the staging chamber, analysts found 26 processing stations, each station assigned to a numbered manifest series. Scanning devices logged weight, packaging type, destination code, and timestamp. Every movement was recorded. Analysts confirmed at least 312 documented transfers passed through the tunnel system during its operational life, representing an estimated market value exceeding $480 million. The rhythm was consistent: 5 unmarked vehicles arrived in sequence. Containers were unloaded, scanned, cataloged, resealed, transferred underground. Tunnel doors closed, vehicles departed. Before sunrise, the neighborhood returned to normal. Residents left for work, children boarded school buses, joggers passed the mansion without suspicion. Above ground, nothing changed. Below ground, a criminal pipeline remained alive. What makes this case unprecedented is not only the tunnel, not only the drugs, not only the weapons. It is the fusion of professional legitimacy with organized crime. A law practice became camouflage, courtrooms became blind spots, paperwork became armor. Investigators now described the mansion as a conversion node, a place where criminal logistics merged with legal authority. Federal prosecutors have filed charges under RICO statutes: drug trafficking, money laundering, child trafficking, conspiracy, obstruction of justice. Ayan Osman and Mahad Nooreh face life imprisonment if convicted. Their legal teams have not commented publicly, but the damage extends far beyond 2 individuals. Comment one word describing how this story makes you feel. More than 1,000 criminal case files remain missing or compromised. Defendants who should be in custody are unaccounted for. Witnesses who provided testimony have vanished. Evidence logs have been altered or destroyed. The investigation is not over, it is expanding. Federal teams are now auditing every case Osman and Nooreh touched over the past decade. Every filing, every motion, every signature. Because the most dangerous tunnel was never made of concrete. It was built from trust. And dismantling that tunnel will take far longer than breaching a door at 4:47 a.m. Minneapolis is not unique. Federal analysts believe similar infrastructure exists in other cities. Quiet neighborhoods, respected professionals, legal practices that function as logistics hubs. The CJNG cartel does not scale through violence alone, it scales through structure, task assignment, compliance, tracking, immediate replacement of anyone who disrupts tempo. This case revealed how deeply criminal networks can embed themselves inside legitimate systems. How corruption does not always look like corruption. How betrayal can wear the face of advocacy. When lawyers stop defending the law and start manipulating it. When community leaders stop serving communities and start exploiting them. When trust becomes a weapon, entire systems collapse. Not through gunfire, through paperwork. The tunnel beneath Kenwood Parkway has been sealed. The mansion has been seized. The evidence has been cataloged. But the investigation is just beginning, because for every tunnel discovered, federal teams believe dozens remain hidden. For every network disrupted, others adapt and evolve. This is not a story about Minneapolis. This is a story about infrastructure, about how criminal enterprises weaponize the systems designed to protect us. Hit like if you believe justice matters and innocent families deserve protection. Share this video before platforms bury it in their algorithms. Subscribe so you don't miss when we expose the next city where this is happening. Comment truth if you think every case these lawyers touched should be reopened and investigated. The fight continues. The networks remain. The threat persists. And the next tunnel could be beneath any city, any neighborhood, any address that symbolizes trust. This is only the beginning.